Hey guys, what's up? I'm going to go over my 3-minute orb strategy because I added to it a little bit. This is today's chart. So the first thing you want to do is plot the high and low of the previous day, which is the green line is the high, the red line is the low. The yellow line is where the price actually closed the previous day. So what you want to do is on a 3-minute chart is wait for the first candle to print. If the candle opens up within the high and low of the day, it usually means it's not going to be a good day to play the orb. It's probably going to be a little choppy. And the closer it is to the previous day close price, there's probably not going to be that big of a movement either. I mean, anything can happen, but that's usually how it plays out. But I still look for it to play because I like to start the day out green. And how I play the orb, it's just a real quick, more or less get in, get out once it hits my profit targets, and then start the day with green. Makes you feel good psychologically. It's pretty good when you start out green. So all around, it's pretty good. So on this day here, or actually today, first candle printed, the second candle printed, started to print. It started to move up, and then I'm not sure if you can see it actually come down a little bit. There's a little wick on there. So it started to come back down, and then when it bounced back up and broke that first candle's body, I ended up getting in, and I usually buy 5 packs, so 5 options. So I bought 5 there. Right after I buy that, I draw the fibs from the low to the high of that first candle. And then that's what I use as my profit target. So my profit targets is there the 272 level is the start of it, is where I'll start scaling out either there or the 382 or yeah, the 382 level. And then I'll take more off the table at the 618. And then my final runner I usually take off at the 786 unless it's continuing pretty strong. And then I'll let that runner on. So I usually take 2 off, take another 2 off, and leave a runner on. So on this day here, I got in, it rode it up. It hit almost hit this 272 level here. So on this green candle here, I ended up taking my 2 off. The very next candle, it broke above that 272 and started coming back down. So I ended up taking the other 2 off. So I left my one runner on. I figured I'm in the green. I'm just going to take it and enjoy it. What I did, I normally have my stop loss down here below the 382 level initially. After I took my 2 off, what I did was, and it's a mental stop loss. My mental stop loss is basically right at my break even point. So as this come back down, I stayed in. I stayed in here because it was a wick. On this red candle here, it actually didn't break this candle where I made my entry, but at that point was my break even, so I got out. So I ended up stopping out at breaking even on that runner. But I made $100 on this play here. But like I said, it starts out green, makes it a good day. So that was today's orb strategy, and that hasn't changed. I haven't modified it too much. What you can do, or what I do too, is down here at these R. This is the RVSI, and it's based off of volume. It's like the RSI, but it's more volume based than price based. So when it's breaking above, and this is above in the green, that's obviously a sign that it's probably going to go up a little bit, which it did, and it stayed up until it started crossing down, and that's when this downtrend started to happen, when that RV crossed. So I use it also when I do the orb, but it's not necessary to have it. As long as it breaks that first candle, that's kind of my telltale sign. So let's go to the previous day. So on this day here, same thing. It broke here, This wick I didn't enter right away. I used to enter as soon as it breaks. As soon as it breaks, I used to enter. But what I found now is a lot of times it'll break past it, but then it'll pull back a little bit. So now what I've been doing, I've been waiting for the pullback. So it broke and it started pulling back. I made my entry as it pulled back. Then I do the same thing. I draw the fibs. And then I take my profit target. On this one here, this very first candle, it hit all my profit. Boom, 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 boom. 100% take it. So on that first candle, that basically the candle I got in, I end up getting out all of my target. You could hold the runner in, but what I did, I just sold them all because what I wanted to do here was I switched over to the 5-minute chart. And I wanted to do it kind of like a double orb play. I wanted to do the 3-minute orb and the 5-minute orb to try it out just to see how it is. So right here's the 5-minute chart. So this is this candle here basically was already printing by the time I switched over to the 5, because I played, the 3-minute candle on the first one, and then I waited that full 3-minute candle on the first. So that's 6 minutes in. So this candle here was already printing. So how I play it here, I just use this second candle as if it was the first candle, and I played off it. So this red here, when it broke, I ended up getting in on the 5-minute orb. But when I draw my fib lines, I draw them from the second candle, not that first candle. My computer is acting up and I apologize. So here to here. Expand it so you can see the fibs better. So I got in on this first candle. Again, the profit targets are just 272, so I took 2 off on the first candle. The second candle come down, hit my second profit target of the 681. It actually hit my 786 profit target, and since it wicked down and started coming back up, I just ended up getting out on there also. So I took my full on the second candle. So that time I played a double orb. I played the 3-minute orb, and then I switched over and played the 5-minute orb, and they were both winners. Normally with the runner, what you can do is leave it on until you get a candle that's pulling back against you. So basically, if this wick wasn't here, if this was just it closed right there at the bottom of that red bar, I would have stayed in. And then on this green candle, I would have got out with the runner. But since this wicked down and it showed that, hey, there's, buying power coming up, I figured it may go up into the green. And then if you look down here at the RVSI, after that candle, you can see it started turning in green again. So that kind of told me, hey, there's a good chance it might go up here. Previous day, let me just go down here to auto. Go back to 3-minute, and it'll probably screw everything up. It did. All right. Okay, on this day here, the 3-minute printed, and then the second one was this doji. On that doji candle, what I did was I switched over to the 5-minute chart. So it'd be right here. Then when I switched over to the 5-minute chart, again, I was watching it, and I believe when I switched over, this second candle was printing again, so I played off of it. The third candle, once it broke that, I end up getting in, and the same thing, you just draw the fibs from bottom to the top. Now you guys can take profit however you see fit. I take it on the fibs because it gives me a stop loss and everything, my price targets and everything like that. Because what I do is I trade with Webull, but I chart on TradingView. So whenever I get in a trade, I don't even look at the Webull chart at my price. So right now, after I entered, my stop loss is below right here, this 382 level. Because a lot of times what it'll do is come down there and it'll bounce off at 382. So when I entered here, I'm not looking at how much profit I'm making. I go off of my price targets. Again, I use the 272 level. Since it was a strong candle here and it was pushing up, I actually took profit on the 382. Again, I took 5 and I took 2 off. No, I think on this day I actually took 10, I think. I think this was the day I took 10 because I couldn't play that long. So what I did was I ended up taking 5 off here and I let the other ones on. On this candle here, it was strong and it broke above, and I just took the rest of my 5 right here to get out because I couldn't stay in the trade that long. So that's right. This is the day I made. I think altogether I made $300, and it was like within the first 15 minutes or so. So it was a good trade. Regardless of the price, whenever you do the orb strategy, you have to have a stop loss, which is the big one, but you have to have a profit target because you don't know if it's going to come back against you. That's why I take my initial profit target is that 272, 382 level because it gives you a decent gain, but it's also a pretty quick gain too. You take some off and you leave a runner on. If it starts coming back against you, then you just get out. Take more profit and get out. If you leave the runner on like I did on today, that runner ended up stopping out because I'd moved my stop loss. Again, it's a mental stop loss. Instead of once it hits this 382 level, as soon as it pulled back, and whenever I leave a runner on, I'll look over at my Webull chart, because especially if it starts coming back towards my stop loss, because I want to make sure I'm going to break even. So it's coming back down, I'll stop it out right around the break even point is how I play it. But I wanted to update it just to show that, yeah, I play the 3 minute, but I also switch it to the 5 minute. And what I found too is I'll wait for the pullback more, because a lot of times now what I see when it breaks that first candle, for example here, this breaks the second candle, a lot of times it might pull back. So I'll wait for that pullback, and then as it starts going back up, I'll make my entry as it's going back up and breaks that candle, because a lot of times I've noticed it does do a pullback. So I wanted to let people know I used to play it to where I would just jump in. As soon as it breaks that candle, I'm jumping in and riding it up. But I found what will happen is it'll break that candle, but then it'll start pulling back against you. Again, the stop loss for me is the 382 level. On this red candle here, my initial stop loss would probably been the base of that candle, because it's not a huge candle, so it would have been the body, right below the body of that first candle, or that candle, that red one would have been it. Been on a bigger candle, say for example I made entry and the first candle was this big green one, I would have the 382 level as my stop loss. So that's it with the orb strategy. It's pretty simple. It's like I said, it's just get green for the day at the beginning of the day. It's good psychologically starting the day green. If you have any questions, hit me up in the Discord. Again, it's Trading Decoded. Link will be in the description. You could join for a week free. You get all access as everybody else. If you like it, you could become a patron. And we just trade the SPY, and the whole community helps each other out. It's a really good community. So if you're not a member of the Trading Dakota Discord, check it out. I highly recommend it, and you won't be disappointed. So if you try the orb strategy, again, please have a stop loss set and your price targets. You don't have to use the fibs, but have it however you do your price targets. Again, a lot of times it will come back against you, so you might want to have a quick price target. But they do run, like on this day here, there was a runner, that the stock ran pretty good, and you can leave it running. But they're not all like that. So they're not all home runs. Good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you in the Trading Dakota Discord.